Hello folks, welcome to the Mandolin Jam Favorites class here at the Peghead Nation. I'm glad you're joining me. Glad to be here. We're going to check out a tune today called Garfields, Blackberry Blossom. It's an unusual tune from the jam repertoire. And I think it is in the jam repertoire, certainly. Many folks that I know would know this tune. And it gets called pretty often at jams, back when we had jams. Anyways, this tune is a great tune, and it's an unusual tune in the scale that it uses. It's a tune that is based on a scale called Lydian Dominant, or Lydian Flat 7, and here's what that scale sounds like. I'll do it in the key of G, which is what this tune is in. It's an unusual scale. Now, if you want to think about it as compared to a major scale, let's listen and check out the difference between the two. So there's G major, and here's G Lydian Dominant. So the first change that you'll notice is that C has been raised to C sharp, and that gives you a sound that we call Lydian, a raised fourth note of the scale. So that would be G Lydian. And then it's called Lydian Dominant, or Lydian Flat 7. Flat 7, if you call it that, certainly gives you a clue as to what's going on. We've flatted the 7th of the scale after raising the 4th. So we've got both C sharp and F natural in this G scale. It gives you maybe just listen to for a moment and just let the sound sort of seep in. It's got a lot of personality, this scale. So I can't think of another tune that has, that's based on that scale. There must be, many. But let me modify that. I can't think of another tune that's in the common repertoire of jam, at jams, that uses that scale. So it's interesting. There's some great versions out there to check out. Adam Steffi recorded it. And there's great variation, by the way, between all of the versions in terms of what people play as the melody. There's really a lot of leeway from one version to another. But the Adam Steffi version is great. It's awesome to check out. There's the Nashville Bluegrass Band has a version of this. It's always great to hear how Stuart Duncan plays something, and that version will give you that. There's even a Lyle Lovett version, which is really good. And so what we're learning today is based on what I've learned over the years from playing with lots of different fiddle players, and then some things I picked up this recently while I was checking out all these other versions and learning many different variations. Why don't we give a listen to it? Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3. So the scale breaks. It's not in Lydian Dominant the whole time. The last phrase of the A section and the last phrase of the B section, which are the same, uses C natural instead of C sharp. So it's kind of slides in between Lydian Dominant and I guess G major. You might want to think of it as that way, or G mixolydian if you like thinking about it that way. So there's just the one chord G for the whole tune. So we got that down. Why don't we learn the melody? So I'm going to play this first phrase a couple times, and then I'll spell it out. I think more so than many other tunes, because it's a collection of notes that we don't usually see going together. I'm going to be more articulate about spelling out each of these notes. So here's this first phrase. 2, 1, 2, 3. And that brings us to the downbeat of the second measure. So here it comes again, just listening. 2, 1, 2, 3. So we've got G, G, A, G, E, F, G, F, C sharp. And I'm getting to C sharp, as you can probably see, by using my middle finger just a little higher than it would be normally in G. So I'm stretching out for that. It's a little hard when going from C sharp to F or vice versa. It's a longer stretch than we were used to, but it's doable, I think. But you can also experiment with using your pinky using your ring finger for C sharp and then your pinky for D. That's possible. So why don't we do that first phrase a couple times? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, cool. That first phrase continues. It doesn't stop as we had been stopping. It keeps going with a string of eighth notes like this. 2, 1, 2, 3. And that's where we're getting that Lydian sound, that sharp 4. So we're going D, C sharp, G, B, and then again. So D, C sharp, B, D, C sharp, B, G. That gives us a longer first phrase, which sounds like this. 2, 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's try again at that speed. 2, 1, 2, 3. Great. So the next phrase of the A section starts on the same note, the G, and it sounds like this. I'm going to play it back to back with what we've just worked on, just to get a sense of how it connects in. 2, 1, 2, 3. So we've got this phrase that kind of starts out similarly. It's anticipated. If you think of the notes that make up this scale, this sounds exotic. But it's mostly running up and down the scale. We've got G, A, G, G, A, G, F. Now we're going to skip the E in the scale, so that's the difference between literally running down the scale. But we're skipping the E. D, C sharp, B, C sharp, D, G, A, G. So let's do that second phrase from bars 3 and 4. Sounds like this. 2, 1, 2, 3. That anticipated G is going to make a whole lot more sense when you do it following the first phrase. So it's when you get to that low G, that low G, or that medium low G, you're going to go to that high G immediately on the down on this G, up on this G, and that'll give you that anticipated timing. So maybe it makes sense to try and just play that phrase as a full 4-bar phrase. So from the top through the first 4 bars. 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's do that again. 2, 1, 2, 3. If you're sweating it and you don't, it's not easy to get from the low G to the high G, you certainly can put this, the second phrase, you can start that on the beat, which would sound like this. huge difference. I like the funkiness, the rhythmic funkiness of anticipating that G, but they're both workable options. So that's the first half of the A section. Let's just work our way through that a little slowly and just get that under our fingers. Here's the first half. 2, 1, 2, 3. There we are. So the second half of the A section sounds like this. 2, 1, 2, 3. So we've got this. I'm sliding into this B with your pinky. So once you get to that B, you're going to go B, G, B, A, G, F, C sharp. Let's try that much. 2, 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's a little slower. 2, 1, 2, 3. And again, this phrase, like the phrases earlier, continues with a bunch of eighth notes, which sounds like this. Now, I bet you that phrase is going to feel a little odd at first. So I'm going D, C sharp, F, C sharp, D, C sharp, B, G. Let's try that phrase. What I just did, combined with this. We'll go for that whole phrase, which will sound like this. 2, 1, 2, 3. So still in Lydian dominant through all that. It breaks right here for this next phrase, which sounds like this. So we got a triplet from B to C and back to B. G, F, D, C, B, and then back up C, D, G, A, G. Again. And again. Maybe we should try the whole A section at this speed. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's our A section. I think it's harder than the B section.